It's a Green Thumb Thursday, and our guy Justin Rohner is back with us here on Arizona Daily Mix, the founder of Agriscaping Technologies and the guru when it comes to summer melon secrets.
Awesome, yes.
Yeah.
This is a great time.
This is exciting.
This is the time of year when all the melons start to ripen. This is when everyone wants them. We're gearing into your 4th of July kind of weekends and stuff like that too. So it's important to know not only how to grow them yourself, if you're growing them right now, but also how to pick a ripe one when you're in the grocery store. I mean, everyone's always, they've got so many different methods. They like hitting them with their heads.
You can see them in the grocery store doing funny things. But Americans consume more melons than anywhere else in the world. Why do we love them so much?
Well, they're so sweet. I mean, we love the sweet stuff, right? We love
Especially
the
in the summer.
That's right, and they're nice and cool, and I think it's a reprieve from all the crazy heat that we get, and so I think that's one of the big reasons that we love them.
So a lot of people in the desert especially probably think, well, I can't grow melons, but they can, right?
Oh, you definitely can grow melons. They love the heat, especially your watermelons, your main ones, your watermelons, your cantaloupes, and your honeydew. The honeydew are probably the easiest ones to grow.
Okay.
And when it comes to these types of melons, it's the same kind of recipe in order to have success. You need 12 to 18 inches deep soil, nice, rich soil, and you want to have about 2 inches of good mulch, usually dry mulch, even a straw is pretty good at the very top, just to keep them from rotting at the base. Because as you're watering them, and then we got that excessive heat, it can sometimes rot the bottom of the fruit, and that's what no one wants to have.
So does it go for all of them, the watermelon, the cantaloupe, the honeydew?
Yes, so you always want to have a little bit, I mean, when it comes to the cantaloupe and honeydew, even a little bit more dry mat of compost or even straw makes it a lot better for them. The watermelons don't need it as much, but it's good to keep them, get a lot of nice airflow around the bases of those melons so they ripen evenly.
How long does it take to grow them?
Oh, well, when you start it from seed, you're usually looking about 180 days. So that's why we like to start with some starts, especially this time of year. If you wanted to get good melons for your holiday seasons through the summer, you probably should have already started them in seeds.
Good to know.
But if you're going to get them late fall and you're looking into September, you can do it with seeds now. So you can still grow with seeds, but I would highly recommend make sure they're watered a couple times a day in order to make that work right.
Okay, so when you are growing a melon and then it's done, how do you tell if it's ripe, if it's ready?
Well, on the watermelons, the first thing we like to look for is we want to look for kind of a yellowing spot. It's kind of what they call a field spot. So where it's sitting on the ground in the field, it should be a little more yellow than the rest of it. That's a good indicator that it's starting to ripen on the interior of that melon. Now, the other thing we like to do is we thump them with our finger.
That's what you'll see people do in the grocery store.
You'll see people do this in the store, and you compare the melons. So you want a deeper sound, so you want a more hollow thump. If it's a tink, then it's not likely ripe yet. It's still dense. Can you feel that?
Yes.
And so it's kind of comparative. And then you want to feel the weight of it.
Okay.
And so if I've got two that sound the same, I'm going to pick the heavier of the two.
Okay.
Because that tells me that I've got a nice, juicy watermelon with a lot of nice water inside of it, and it's working well. An open thumping melon, so a watermelon that then is light, is actually overdone.
Okay.
And that's going to be soggy inside, and you're not going to like that.
You don't want that. No, it's no good. Okay, what about the cantaloupe? Is that the same thing?
The cantaloupe, we actually don't even have to thump these guys. We're just looking around and we're trying to find, you see how it's got all the netting on it? And a good ripe one's actually going to have about 50% is going to have more yellow in between the netting. So you see how on some parts of this, it's green inside the netting.
Right there.
Yep, so you can see it's all green there. So this one's a little underripe as much. And so I want to find one that's got about at least 50% more of that yellowing inside the netting. And then I want to make sure it's firm at the ends. So if my ends are firm, then it's not overdone. If it ends up soft at the ends, it's overdone, and you're not going to want to eat that one. That's not going to be too cool.
No.
So again, we like a nice heavy fruit, nice and dense. But again, we're just looking through the netting and looking for the yellow inside that netting. So it should have a yellow hue.
Packed with sweetness. What about the honeydew? One of my favorites.
Honeydew, this is kind of a fun one. So there's a couple different varieties of honeydews out there. This is kind of more on the canary side, but then there's the more yellow ones.
That's the one I'm used to seeing.
Yeah. So these ones, it's same kind of thing. You're looking for one that actually squeaks with your thumb. So if your thumb isn't greased, it actually squeaks on the outer skin, and then that means that it's ripe. Now, if it's too soft, so this is another one that you want to kind of press the ends of it, make sure that the ends aren't soft, and you want to make sure it has a hue, and when it starts getting a little bit of orange hue to it, that means it's a lot sweeter on the interior, and so that's usually good. You can see on the inside of this one, when it gets a little more orange coloring inside, that means it's a lot sweeter than the ones that are just plain green.
Okay, we have less than a minute left, and I want you to talk a little bit, if you will, about the melons that we haven't probably considered as often as we should.
Yeah, there's ones like Santa Claus melons, the canary melon's a great one that's out there. There's also this one that's down here. This is called Lemon Drop.
I tried that.
You should try that. This one, this
great.
one's fun. It's got a nice sweet flavor, but then it's got this sour kind of undertone.
It's a nice mix, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great one. So if you got a Sour Patch Kid in your family,
where do you find these?
You can find these. A lot of farmers markets have them. I know Power Ranch Farmers Market has them, and you can check that out out in Gilbert. A lot of the open farmers markets are bringing these up, and it's a great one to have.
Well, you have great resources on your website, especially if you want to learn how to grow your own. So go to agriscaping.com. Justin Roner, always a pleasure. Thank you.